Because when we text over the phone, we don't really can see what is really going on the other side of the screen. And you can't feel energy like that. Like, you can't feel the vibes of how somebody is feeling. You don't really understand what a person is trying to say over text messaging. So, texting over the phone, especially when there's an argument, could actually ruin a relationship faster than cheating could. And then when you say something, people start assuming 100 different things. Like, you say one thing and then they just assume something else. Like, what do you mean by that? They don't even clarify like what you mean by that. They just jump to different conclusions, and then they people can say whatever they want over text, because you can say something to somebody and then it will instantly piss them off, and then they say something 10 times more deeper than that. So you don't even know why they said it, and you don't even know like the emotions of behind it. You just know they said it, and you be like, wait a minute, you just said this over text. What do you mean by that? And then you gotta check them in person, like, what did you mean by what you said over text messaging? So now I have to check you in person. So texting could really build like a lot of confusion over, the phone. And voice messages, like, I send a voice message to people, usually I do that, but that actually puts you in a more dangerous situation, because now, like, whatever you say over that voice message, they can simply show your voice message to their friends and stuff, and be like, you hear what this girl just said to me over the phone and stuff. Like, okay, so voice messages ain't always, safe either, because they're not private. And then when you're at work, like, we have this thing called Chime, we have this thing called Slack, and, businesses, they be communicating over Slack and stuff. And, depending on the type of company you work for or whoever you talk to at work, like, your coworkers can screenshot your messages and send it to HR. That's why people don't be responding. That's why you find that your manager doesn't respond to you when you're texting them, because they don't want to get caught by HR, because they know if they get smart with you, they know if they say something odd, then that message is going straight to HR, okay? Because usually by what you be saying, the other person doesn't really know what you mean by that, because they can't feel that vibe. So what we say can sound normal in our heads, because we be saying stuff in our heads like, okay, well, I want to say this, like, and then you say it to the other person's like, what the hell do you mean by that? You're like, oh, it sounded different in my head versus, what I texted you or whatever. But me, I'm the type of person, I like to have deep conversations in person. Because look, if there's a misunderstanding in some way, let's talk in person. Let's meet up. Let's go get some food and talk about it. Let's go outside and talk about it. Like, we're not going to be communicate deep emotions and deep problems over text messaging. Like, that's not how you solve issues in a relationship. Take that and have some dinner over or something and talk about it. Like, stop sitting there in the middle of nowhere and just be texting somebody like, you don't understand what I just said, because all they're going to do is leave you on red. So meet up in person. You can text them and be like, hey, I have something to talk about with you. Because usually when you text somebody, be like, oh, I have something to talk about, they be like, what do you want to talk about? Just say, we need to talk, and we need to talk in person like some real adults, okay? Because I'm not going to be explaining nothing to you over no text messaging like some teenagers, okay? Because ignoring somebody over text is like the same feeling of being ignored in person. Like, you ever just say something to somebody and they just ignore the hell out of you? You be like, excuse me, you didn't hear what I just said? That's because they left you on red. That's the same exact feeling when you send a message to somebody and they just ignore you. So texting somebody is for updates. Like, hey, I need to let you know that, meet me here or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, texting is only for updates. Talking in person is for understandings, like, instead of arguing over text, meet up in person so there's more of an understanding of what the other person is talking about. And leave texting for updates. Update that person of things. Let's not vent over the phone either or in text messages, okay?